Hi everyone, I'm Nicholas Fett of the Decentralized Derivatives Association, and today I'm going to walk you through how to trade derivatives using our DApp. So you can come to our website, or our DApp website at dapp.ddacoop.org, and now I'm just going to walk you through how to create a contract and trade on it. But I'm actually not going to do it on our DApp, I'm going to do it on our test app. So what you can do is you can come over to test.decentralizedderivatives.org, and this one is using the Rinkeby test network, so you won't actually have to spend real money if you just want to play around with it. First, what you're going to have to do is install MetaMask. MetaMask is an Ethereum wallet that is in your browser, and then once you install it, you're going to want to fund it with some Ether, and then go over to the Rinkeby test network, since this is on our testnet. Now we're going to go to our portfolio page, reset. Alright, so now we're going to go to the how-to page. We're just going to talk a little bit about what this enables. So DDA creates long and short tokens on the Ethereum network. What this means is that we create tokenized derivatives contracts that allow you to go long or short the price of a cryptocurrency, and this allows you to, whether you want to hedge some of your price risk or you want to use some more advanced derivatives trading strategies, you can do it with DDA tokens. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to create a smart contract in the Ethereum network, and then we're going to fund it with some Ether. This Ether is the collateral inside the smart contract, and then we're going to, from this smart contract, it's going to create long tokens and short tokens. These long tokens and short tokens represent the price change in the contract. So the collateral at the end of the duration, so these are going to be week-long contracts, at the end of the contract, the collateral inside of the smart contract will be paid out to either the long tokens or the short tokens, depending on the change in the price of the underlying. So you'll get a much better idea as we walk through building out the DApp. So now we'll go over to the portfolio page. This is where you'll be able to see just some of your tokens. So this is actually a new account, so there are no tokens or transactions on here at the moment, which is probably what yours will look like. And you can come down here to the Create Contract button. And first what you're going to do is select a duration. You're going to select 1 week, since that's the only one that we have available now. And then you'll select the underlying. So you have two choices here. You can either go with Bitcoin US dollar or Ethereum US dollar. The thing to note is that Ethereum US dollar is on a 5x multiplier, meaning that a 1% change in the ETH US dollar price will result in a 5% change in the contract. So we'll choose the ETH US dollar one, and then you pick a start date. So these should be in the future. This one will start on 7th. And then the contract will obviously go for a week after that. And then the amount of Ether. The thing you should note about the amount of Ether is that it's actually going to be doubled, the amount that's going to come out of your MetaMask wallet. And this is because you're collateralizing both the long tokens and the short tokens through this create contract process. So we'll put in 0.1, and it will actually take out 0.2 from our wallet. So now once we create contract, you'll see MetaMask is going to pop up. And don't worry, see how it says 0 US dollars at first. The reason is that if you remember from the how-to, first we're going to create the contract and then we're going to fund the contract. So this piece is just creating the smart contract. This is gas. So gas is the piece on the Ethereum network. It'll how you pay the miners, and we're going to increase it so our contract goes through faster. You can play around with it. Usually, if you just put in a little bit more than MetaMask automatically requests, then it'll go through pretty quickly. So we'll click confirm, and that should go through. And what this step is doing is this is actually creating our smart contract. It went through already, and this is our new smart contract. Now we actually have to collateralize the smart contract, so we're going to send those funds. So that 0.2 Ether, we'll click Send Funds. You'll see now it is taking 0.2 Ether. We'll up the gas price again, make sure it goes through nice and quick, and we'll confirm it. Okay, now that we have our tokens up in our portfolio, now you might just want, say, short exposure. Right now you have long and short exposure, which means you're risk neutral. What happens if, say, you just wanted short exposure? You would actually have to go sell off the long exposure. So we would come over here to the bulletin. The thing to also note about the bulletin too is that if you just wanted short exposure, you wouldn't have to go through that whole create contract process. You could, if you wanted, you could create the contract, then sell off the long exposure to get the short exposure, or you can just come on the bulletin and buy the short exposure if somebody else is already selling it. So usually what I would recommend to people is first, if you're looking for just short exposure, just long exposure, first come check on the bulletin to see if somebody else has already taken the other side, and you can just go buy the tokens that you want in the bulletin. The bulletin page is similar to an exchange, however, it's just a bulletin. You can sort of think like Craigslist, where you just post a sell order for something and you have to buy the whole quantity. So it's not like an order book where you can fill multiple orders. So let's go and we'll just list an order. Okay. And now what we're going to do, we'll be able to select our token. We wanted to sell off the long side for the week, and we'll sell off all of them. And this should look nice and familiar to you now. Bumping up the gas price. And this is also, the listing is also a two-step process similar to the creation of the contract. First, we're approving the exchange smart contract to transfer the token on our behalf, and now we're actually going to list the token. So now that we have approved the exchange to transfer the token on our behalf, we'll enter in the price. So the fair value of these tokens right now, for every 1 Ether collateral in the smart contract, you get 1,000 tokens. So 100 tokens would be 0.1. So we have 0.1 Ether collateralizing these 100 long tokens before the start date. So the fair value, since the start date has not happened yet, is 0.1. And since we also did a little bit of the legwork as far as creating the contract, we might want to put it in at a little bit of a spread. So we'll add another 0.11. Maybe we'll make a little bit of money for creating the contract. Then you can click submit. This. And that is how you list an order. Sometimes, just to note too, whenever you're doing this on the mainnet, depending on what gas price you go through, sometimes it can be as quick as 10 seconds, and other times it can take, as long as a few hours to go through if the network's experiencing some traffic. So just be patient with it. You can always up your gas price. Be happy to help you go through that. All right, so now you can see it just went through. Now we can wait for it to pop up. But while we do that, let's say we also want to buy another piece. So there you saw our order just popped up on the bulletin. Now let's say we want one for a different start date, so we're going to buy it. So we'll buy that order ID 2. And I don't know if I have enough money. I do not have enough money for that one. So we're going to buy that order ID 1. And what you can do is you just submit the order ID, which you can find on the side, and then it'll go through. Now this is just going to send the money directly to the person who listed order ID 1, and you'll get the tokens transferred over to you. The thing to note is that this is completely decentralized, so the exchange doesn't hold any money, the exchange doesn't even hold your tokens. And voila, so it popped off over there. And now we can actually go back to our portfolio, and now we'll let these load, and what you should be able to see, okay. So you see now we have those long Bitcoin ones that we just bought, and it still comes up that we still have our long Ethereum ones because no one has bought them yet, because they're still technically ours until somebody buys them, which should make a little bit of sense. So thank you for listening. Once again, this is the test, so for the real Dapp on the mainnet, you would go over to dapp.ddacoop.org. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us either through our email on our website, or you can go to our Telegram, which we're at. It's t.me/DDA org. So thanks for listening, everyone.